Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Night Motorsport. We're at the Brands Hatch for the Brands Hatch 100 over back in the UK. We've left the States. We've finished up on that part of the journey. Now we're back in the UK over in Kent. No, I didn't swear on that one. That is the city that we are in. Very tight, tricky circuit tonight, and coming into round 16. The drop rounds have been said and done. The championship is really starting to tighten up now. All the drivers are now battling it out for that final top position, and who's going to be taking home the number one on their car at the end of the season when we head off into Bathurst next week. Joining me in the commentary booth tonight, Andrew Collins with me tonight. Andrew, mate, how are you and how's the week been?
Yeah, very good, very good. It's a bit cold moving back down here to good old chilly Warrnambool, but should be a good race tonight. We've got the normal names up the front, so bit of a tricky technical track, this one. So it's going to be a good night, I reckon, Matty.
Well, chilly Warrnambool, mate, it is, but you've also got the freedom in Warrnambool. Victoria currently in lockdown in the metro of Melbourne. All regional suburbs are able to roam free. So you guys out there are the lucky ones. Unfortunately for me, being within metro Melbourne, stuck in lockdown, can't really do much at all. And I guess that's where sim racing comes into factor, and we're able to drive and obviously commentate for you guys tonight. Tight, tricky track. It is Brands Hatch. There is not many overtaking moves at all. We can probably see a couple coming in a Paddock Hill Bend turn one there. Definitely coming up into Druids in turn two, and we'll go over that a bit more later. Anyway, let's look at the track in a little bit more detail for you, ladies and gentlemen, and find out what is in store for us tonight. 3.7 kilometers in length, 28 laps, 103.6 kilometers in length. A little bit over our advertised 100, but it is close enough. 71.5 litres of fuel restriction, a one pit stop for these guys tonight with a fuel burn of 3.3 litres a lap and 2 tyre sets that will see them through to the end of the race. Our track conditions and the date that we're starting is the 2nd of June 2021 with an 8:30 a.m. race start. So it's a little bit ahead in the morning, or a little bit in the past for us over here in Down Under. But 8:30 in the morning race start, 23-degree air temp and a nice cold track temp of 28 degrees with a northerly wind speed of 6 kilometers an hour. So coming through the Pilgrim's Drop, we'll definitely see those guys be going a little bit of a headwind. Won't affect the cars too much, though, but watch them slip up into the slipstream and come up into Hawthorn Hill there and make an overtaking move. And, of course, I mentioned the championship points. We can't forget them, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out now. Since the drop rounds have been dealt with and done, Matty Scholes takes to the top of the leaderboard. Nicky G was up there, but Matty Scholes obviously had quite a few big rounds that he did not do well in, and that is now umped him all the way to the top of the leaderboard. Second place, Kai Turner. Third place, Rehan Leonard sitting steadily there. Only 83 points off the leader. So he needs Kai Turner and Matty Scholes to have horrible races. Crash out, burn out, whatever Rehan could wish upon him. That's what's got to happen to Matty Scholes and Kai Turner for Rehan to even make a dent into this championship. Nicky G down there on 1,798 points, off 100 points down after his drop round. So he's dropped down some positions. David Nash holding in 5th. Dean Alessi in 16th. Reddit in 7th. Sam Noble in 8th. Dan Stevens in 9th. And Jonathan Bain rounding out your top 10, ladies and gentlemen. We'll let them flick through on a couple pages there just to see what the drop rounds have all done if you've been playing along at home over the 16 rounds of this season so far. 17-round season, it is one of our longer ones, 5 rounds longer than what we usually have, usually a 12-round season. So a big season for these drivers out on track tonight. But, Andrew, it's been a long season, but the action has not died off, that's for sure.
It's been awesome, mate. And what are we coming down to? We've got 2 left now, I think, if I'm right.
Brands Hatch and Bathurst.
Bathurst is the last one. I only came on board as a commentator just before halfway through, but I've been paying close attention to it since the start, as hopefully a lot of people have as well at home. And it's the usual names, but the drop rounds have thrown a spanner in the works for sure.
Drop rounds definitely have thrown the spanner in the works. We did see Nicky J. He was holding comfortably for quite a few rounds out in the lead and has now dropped down into fourth. So he's going to be really a little bit disappointed with what's going on there. But as you see on the tower there, ladies and gentlemen, Rehan Leonage topping the leaderboard and a JP Simshed teammate not far behind him in second position. David Nash in third, Mika Limassuria in fourth, Kai Turner in fifth, Sam Noble in sixth, Matty Skull seventh, Nicky G all the way down in eighth position. Just before we went on air, ladies and gentlemen, we had a JP Simshed lockout of the two front rows, and then Nash and or should I say David Nash decided to promote himself up there into third position, and so did the rest of the boys. Dean Reddit in ninth and Troy Allen rounding out your top 10 there, ladies and gentlemen. But looking to tonight, it is going to be full on. Brands Hatch, one of the tightest circuits we have been around thus far. Not many overtaking maneuvers are going to be held here. Maybe two spots, definitely, maybe three, maybe four. We saw last night turn 4 was definitely a hot spot for making the overtakes coming into, I believe it was either Graham Hill Bend or Surtees. So, but definitely coming up into Hawthorne Hill down the straight. That's another one. And then Haleswood Hill coming up into the hairpin is another favourite for a lot of drivers if they can get the drive out of turn 1, also known as Paddock Hill Bend. Andrew, pick of the night for you, mate. We've been seeing some really good pace from Mika Limassuria lately and Rehan Leonage late in the season. Those two have really come alive. Dylan Pereira has been really making a name for himself in qualifying. Can't turn that to a race result. Who's going to be your pick for the night, mate?
I'm hoping Dylan, to be honest with you. Like you said, he seems to be up the front on the one lap pace, but hasn't been able to string a whole race together. So hopefully he can get up there and get amongst the boys. But I think Scholesy will be up there as usual. Rehan will be up there. It's a hard one to try and gauge, Matty, to be honest with you. They're all been thrown amongst the works for the last few we've been in, so who knows?
It's definitely getting unpredictable, and especially coming in to the final 2 rounds as Rehan Leonage goes quicker again on the top of the leaderboard with the 124.33. So that clears him of Dylan Pereira by a country mile there. It's only a 10th. Big incident!
Wow.
Big incident out on track in qualifying there, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to cop a penalty. We'll get a replay of that, actually. We won't really get a replay during qualifying, but we're about to see one now. Dean Reddit on your screen from the right, Sim Racing Crew. Who was out in front of him there? Out in the sticks. Out one of the KFC entries.
Oh, he's pulled out
into the wall. Nowhere to go. Coming down the hill. I believe that was... coming down off
Dean Reddit, I think it was, wasn't it? Was it Reddit in the KFC car? Yeah, Dean Reddit in the KFC car. Yeah, so he's just, instead of staying on the picks like he meant to, he's gone back out onto the track. Whether that he's just slid back out or not, we don't know, but yeah.
Dean Reddit was in the right sim racing there. I'm trying to figure out who was in the KFC entry. It's KFC entry might have been Robbie Bradbury, maybe. I can't. There's a couple KFC entries in there, but I'm sure we'll sort it out. 000 on the qualifying tower there, ladies and gentlemen. That is qualifying done and dusted as we got carried away with that that replay there. As you can still see the marks laying in the grass there from where that incident took place. Nash, Stevens, Campbell, Davis, Good, and Gaffer Martin out on track still. Rounding
Dylan
up.
Pereira has jumped to the top.
There he goes. Dylan Pereira takes out pole position as we come. What can David Nash do? He's coming into the final turns here, coming across the start-finish line. What can he do, ladies and gentlemen? Last time round was a 128. This time round, he goes on 125.16. So didn't quite have the pace there. He'll have to settle for third position. Dan Stevens still out on track at the moment. Well, looks of it, he's actually stopped. There he goes into the pits. Quick escape, and off he goes. So the grid is set, ladies and gentlemen. There is going to be Elbows are out. It's going to be intense tonight. 28 laps of flat-out racing around Brands Hatch. 103.6 kilometers. Andrew, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts for turn one, I should say? Turn one's going to be the big one. It's a long sweeping one, and the car tends to get light, especially on cold tyres.
Certainly does. I was just saying to you boys before in the precast that it's the corner I struggle with the most. It gets light as you come across the top of the hill there. Even coming out of pit lane, it gets a bit light on you. So the boys will want to take it nice and easy through there for the first time. But it all banks up to getting points, I guess. And Bathurst next week is going to be an awesome race. I can't wait for that one. So we'll see what the boys can do. Just grab a few points here, and I'm sure a lot of them, the track you would ask them, they've done the most laps around would be Bathurst. So I can imagine all the top guys will be up there, and we'll go to the grid now, Matty.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Dylan Pereira takes out the pole position for the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8T2 E-Series qualifying. Rehan Leonard, second position. David Nash and Mikel Masuria out of row 2. Kai Turner and Sam Noble out of row 3. Matty Scholes, Dan Stevens out of row 4. Row 5 sees Mitch Campbell and Nicky G lead from there. Row 6, Dean Reddit and Troy Allen. We'll flick over to the next one and get that race. And Dean Alessi, Robbie Bradbury out of 7. Row 8 sees Jamie Davis and Brian Good. Row 9, Stephen Martin, Jonathan Bain. Row 10, Stephen Banks, Robert Brewer. Row 11, Dean Williams, Colin Bruns. And row 12 sees Tony Gaffer and Paul Gerlin. And there we go. Stephen Black and Tony Martin out of row 13. Andrew Johnston and Tommy Foster out of row 14. And then Scotty, the last man on the grid there, is our safety driver for the night in the GT3 Goodyear Autocare Warana Lamborghini. We saw a safety car last night. 41 laps for the boys in the Super Series. One safety car came out, and I believe that was a bit mid or early races. I think it was about lap 16 that came out. So that was a bit of a decent run for Green Flag Racing. Let's see what the boys tonight can do and how long it's going to take for this safety car to come out. It's easy to drop off a wheel around here, especially on cold tyres, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the action. We are underway for the Brands Hatch 100. Excellent start by Dylan Pereira. Rian Leno's boxed down off the start. David Nash jumps up on the back bumper of Dylan Pereira. Through Paddock Hill Bend. Turn 1 they go. Into Haleswood Hill into Druids. Turn 2, the hairpin. Hard on the brakes. Single file, try and get through. Couple cars go 2 wide, sometimes 3. Dylan Pereira gets a nice little comfortable lead. He's out to 2 car lengths already. Oh, no! There's Miguel Masuria in the ground. No, Rian Leonos, my apologies. The 2 NCS Centuries, it's hard to get them right. Rian Leonos goes round, coming through Graham Hill Bend. Unfortunate for him. We'll get that on replay in just a second for you guys. Up into Hawthorne Hill they come, down to the Derek Minter Straight. Into Westfield. Mikel Masuria holding 3rd position. David Nash all over the back of Dylan Pereira. Down into Sheen Curve. Then bang it and throw it left into Sterling's. Andrew, intense start already. Lots of action. And it's not even the end of lap 1 as they come through the final bend at Clark Curve onto the main straight, onto the Brabham Straight, I should say.
Go back to
let's get the replay, the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay. Let's have a look at this. Rian Leonos around the outside. Sam Noble just behind him. What happens here? He comes up on the inside of, I believe that may have been Kai Turner. He came up on the inside there. And just cars had nowhere to go and pulled into one another. And that has put Rehan all the way down in 13th position, Andrew. So not the start that he wanted.
No, it took a few more cars out there than I thought, to be honest. But yeah, obviously not the first lap that Rehan wanted in the second last round. But he'll pick himself back up. He'll get back up to the front of the field, I'd imagine.
It's
Pretty
easy for cars to get caught up in the accidents around here. You can see how thin the track is, ladies and gentlemen. You struggle to get too wide through a corner. Imagine going 3 wide down a straight. You've got a wheel in the dirt on the outside from one car. A wheel on the car on the other side's got a wheel in the dirt.
Gee.
The car in the middle is getting sandwiched as Nicky G promotes himself up into 6th position there. So he's up 4 positions of where he started from. He's making amends right now. He's on the hunt now for Kai Turner. Is Dean Alessi. Oh, sorry, Matty Scholes that was. Matty Scholes dropped the wheel in the dirt. That's how easy it is, ladies and gentlemen, to drop a wheel in the dirt around Brands Hatch. And if you do, you can kiss a few positions goodbye if you're in the heat of the battle. Through the final bend, Nicky G goes out onto the main straight. Dylan Pereira, fastest lap of the race, the 1:25.04. But that soon gets taken away by David Nash with the 1:25.02. So Nash is on fire at the moment, but he's under a lot of pressure by Mika Limasuria.
Yeah,
Through the hairpin they go for the 3rd time. Lap 3 of 28, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew, I don't think we're going to be getting a break tonight in the commentary. I think it's going to be flat out right to the end.
Your voice is going to be Rex, mate. But Mika's done the fastest on a 1:24.82, so he's right on the back of Nashi there. So keep an eye on him. But
Troy Allen up the inside. Troy Allen up the inside of Matty Scholes. And Matty Scholes not having a great race so far. He's trying to protect the lead of the championship at the moment so as they go into Bathurst. It is double points, though, ladies and gentlemen, so don't forget that. He will be thinking about that as well in the back of his mind as he goes around here. There's a bit of smoke there in the background as well. Who's that? That's one of the NTS entries, I believe. Trying to see who's dropping down. Rihan Leonage with a blown motor by the looks of it. Rihan Leonage has got smoke pouring out the back of that NTS entry Commodore. Can he limp it back to the pits for a repair? We're about to find out. Through Sterling's they go. Come under the Advan Bridge. He's limping. Dylan Pereira just goes fast. Fastest lap of the race. 1:24.77. Rihan Leonage through the final bend. Car off in the dirt there in front of Leonage. I believe that was Dan Stevens. He's off in the sand trap. Big slide by Mika Limasuria. All over the back of David Nash. Dylan Pereira. This is allowing Pereira to bolt. Pereira finally getting the race that he's always wanted. Can he take out the win tonight? We are going to find out in a matter of time. Lap 4 of 28, ladies and gentlemen. Mika Limasuria, though, up on the inside of Nash as they come out of Surtees. Up the Pilgrim's Drop, or down the Pilgrim's Drop, I should say. Up into Hawthorn Hill. He's on the outside. Little bit of squirm under brakes all over the back of Nash. What's in behind him? Into the Derek Minter Straight. Into Westfield they go. Lights are ablaze by Limasuria. Nash runs wide. Nash is off into the trap. That allows Mika to go on by him. Nash now down into 3rd position. Oh lordy. I need strepsils already.
It's just the old flash of the lights there from Mika. I don't know if that's caught Dave Nash off guard or what's happened there, but yeah, a bit of gamesmanship there from the boys.
So that's it. Mika Limasuria now up in the 2nd position. Can he bolt from Nash? Can he chase after Pereira? We know he's quick. Dean Reddit now all over the back of our man Nicky G. Up on the inside into Paddock Hill Bend he goes and gets the move done comfortably. What can Nicky G do? Can he do the overrunner? No, he can't. Slots in behind as they come up into the hairpin at Druids. Excellent move by Dean Reddit. It is a tricky position, ladies and gentlemen, to get right through turn 1 there. Sam Noble under immense pressure at the moment by Kai Turner. Kai Turner on the fight back to try and gain some points in this championship. Into Graham Hill Bend they go. Coming out into Surtees, I believe. Yes, into Surtees they go. Down into the Pilgrim's Drop. Sorry, I had to get my bearings on track there for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Up into Hawthorn Hill. Or Hawthorns, for short. Down the Derek Minter Straight. Into Westfield. Around the Dingledale. And what a name for a corner there, Andrew. Dingledale. Wonder who came up with that one. Into Sheen Curve they go. Kai Turner. All over the back bumper.
The Yanks with A and B and C corners. So.
Yeah, well, I'll take it over the A, Bs and C corner. Kai Turner though having a look up on the outside. Has to pull out of it. Tucks back in under the bumper. Can he get the slipstream down the main straight? It's not a very long one. But if he can get close enough through turn 1 and make up some time, he's going to be able to have a crack into Druids turn 2. Out of turn 1 they come. All over the back bumper turner is Sam Noble. Plays a defensive line. Hard into the corner they go. And as you look on our timing boards, ladies and gentlemen, there is battles going on the whole way down the field. There is a battle no matter where you look. The field may be spread out, but there is battle packs everywhere. Kai Turner now up on the inside of Sam Noble. Doesn't get it done. He's trying. He just needs to settle down and collect his cool and have a crack when he can set it up properly. It's just going to be hurting him more and more, and he won't be able to gain time on the leaders up in front. Your leaders, top 3 at the moment: Dylan Pereira, Mika Limassuria, and David Nash. Then it goes Sam Noble, Kai Turner, Dean Reddit, Nicky G, Dean Alessi, Troy Allen, and Matty Scholes rounding out the top 10. Andrew, not a lot of big movers tonight, only a few smalls. I think the biggest mover overall is Robert Broad down in 13th, up 7th positions from 20th position.
Yeah, we've got Robert up and we've got Daniel Stevens 13 spots down. So you're right. Everyone seems to be hanging around around the area they took off from. So, like you said, it's not the easiest pass. It was a big game by Turner, I think it was before that. Over turn 1's a brave move, trying to make a move there, but not a lot of passing opportunities here. So.
It was Reddit on our man Nicky G. Tony Gaffer on screen at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, and just behind him is Jamie Davis. Now, these two drivers have been very, very good over the up-and-coming weeks. Jamie Davis especially, he's been a front runner, actually, in quite a few races. He's only down 4 positions, so he started in 15th position, not where Jamie wanted to be. He's one of the quick drivers, but the biggest losers so far, Dan Stevens down, or was 13, now down 12 positions in 20th position. He started 8th. Biggest one of the night, Rehan Linash, down 20, or now 23 positions. He just gets a move on Thomas Foster done. And Mitch Campbell from the 9-5 Sim Sports, he's all the way down in 27th position. So he's had a poor race so far already. A little bit of damage, but this battle continues on between Kai Turner and Sam Noble. Kai Turner now closer than he's ever been throughout this race. Can he stay there and put some pressure on? Drops a little bit, drops half a car length. Under the Advan Bridge they go, into the final corner. Gets it down, locks a lot of rear brake and has a massive slide. Massive slide by Kai Turner going into the last corner, and he loses phenomenal ground over Sam Noble.
That was a bold move there. He did really well to save it, didn't he?
Extremely well to save it. He did, and it's not an easy place to be able to catch the car there, but let's not take away from this man out front at the moment. Only lap 8 of 28, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be coming into the pit stops very shortly. They're only about 6 laps away from half race distance, so they're going to be starting to think when their pit stops are going to take place. Mika Limassuria edging closer and closer and closer as the race goes on. He's going to be wanting to take out that top step and go, I believe it's 3 from 3. He's actually on a hat trick at the moment, Mika Limassuria. So if he can win tonight, that's 3 back-to-back-to-back wins. So he's aiming for that top spot. Hovering there around a 1.1 second behind Dylan Pereira. So it's going to come down to the pit stops there unless Pereira makes a mistake. Stephen Martin on your screen at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, sitting behind Jonathan Bain, Robert Brewer there for a nice battle, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And just in front of them is Brian Good and Robbie Bradbury. Haven't heard much from those guys as of late, but big lunge. Big lunge by Stephen Martin onto Jonathan Bain there. He's sitting in 14th position. Andrew, so far, as we click over on the lap 9 of 28, thoughts so far? It's been some hard action-packed racing, but no calls for a safety car yet. Oh, Robbie Bradbury up on the inside of Brian Good. Brian Good gets the motor to 12th position. Robbie Bradbury up into 11th, and that promotes Robert Brewer up into behind Brian Good there. And also Jonathan Bain is going to be wanting to follow suit here and get 2 for the price of 1. Jonathan Bain with a look up the inside. Doesn't get it done. This invites Stephen Martin now onto the back of the train. So what do we got? A 4-car battle, 5-car battle for 11th position. Here we go. We're on here. Stephen Martin having a look up the inside of Bain. Pulls out of it last minute. They keep battling. They're going to be losing this battle pack. So if I were these two, I'd be just focusing on what's in front and trying to catch these 2 drivers ahead to get the move done. Robbie Bradbury, he's bolted from Good. Good's got immense pressure from Braw. Bain not too far behind. Read it on your screen now. He's got Nicky G all over the back of him after that amazing pass into turn 1. And Nicky G's going to be having a look to do the same thing and saying payback is karma, mate. Oh, I wish I could say the other word, but I'm not allowed to on air. My apologies for some at home. I'm sure if you had the imagination, you'd be able to string that one together. Dean Reddit now into turn 2. Nicky G not far behind him. A little bit of a wiggle. Too tight of a, up onto the curb and a little bit too tight. Has the wiggle coming out of the hairpin. Down into turn 3 they go. Graham Hillbend onto Cooper Straight. Up into Surtees. Now back to what I was originally asking, Andrew. Is thoughts so far on the race, even though it's been action-packed, not a safety car call?
Not yet, and we got Dylan's done, just looking at the timing sheet there, Dylan's done the fastest lap of the race so far with Rian Leonard's 100th of a second, 10th of a second behind, but all the way back in 22nd after that incident earlier. So let's hope that Dylan can get it done tonight. Like you said, been fast in qualifying and been up there, but hasn't been able to string a race win together. So hopefully tonight he'll fix that up.
He's doing a stellar job out in front. He's running his own race, but he's got Mika Limasuri for company now. Mika Limasuri has made up half a second over him as we're on board at the moment with Dean Alessi and his teammate. Oh no, we've got a car off from the sand trap there. That looked like Stephen Black. That looked like Stephen Black from the E1 Sim Racing team. Got the big Coughlin down the side. Yes, it is. Stephen Black's finally moving again. Does he have hardware failures? Is he going to make a quick dash for the pits? By the looks of it, he's in the pits he goes. In the pits goes Stephen Black. So he's obviously either missed the pit lane to start with, or he's had a few issues with the car and he's pulling in to get them fixed. We'll keep you up to date on that one. We'll see how long the pit stop is. Now, on screen, Mega Limasuria applying the pressure onto Pereira. Don't forget, they're not teammates by a car. Big wiggle by Kai Turner. They're not teammates in the same team, but they do share the same driving team there of the JSP Sims Shed, or the Sim Shed crew for the liveries. And he also does an amazing job in the director's booth. He's always in our ear, trying to cheer us on and give us the best possible information of the race, whether it be fastest lap times or action going elsewhere on the track, which he will flick to. He's always helping us out immensely. And we can't forget our sponsors either, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, the Goodyear Autocare. Oh, here we go. Turner in the pits. We'll get back to the sponsors in a second. Kai Turner, first of the leaders to pit. How's this one going to play for strategy? Matty Scholes also in the pits. So Matty Scholes played into Kai Turner there. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, those two are fighting it out for the top step of the championship at the moment as they lead into Bathurst. Dylan Pereira on screen now, out in the lead comfortably, only half as, should I say comfortably, not so comfortably. He's got a little bit of heat coming from Mika Limasuria just behind, only half a tenth behind. But back to the sponsors quickly. Obviously, the Goodyear Autocare Warana for the sponsoring us for the V8T2 E-Series, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, also Brinsley Raceway. We've got SDK Gaming. We've got, off the top of my head, it was, I had a meltdown here for a second. SDK Gaming. We've also got SDK Gaming. Track Camps for Gourmet. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I've had an absolute brain fart. All of a sudden, everything's going on in front of me. And we've got more cars probably going to come in. We'll watch this as we continue on with the sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. track cams for Gourmet as well as they stay out. Dylan Pereira and Miguel Missouri stay out for one more lap. There's a car smoking as it comes into the pits. Who's that one? Oh no! That is David Nash. David Nash is in the pits with a smoking engine.
And he'd already been in the pits too, I believe, Matty. I'm sure I saw his name come up before.
Yes, I believe he has actually already been in the pits. So he might be out for the race by the looks of it. Stephen Black, ladies and gentlemen, we'll update you with him. He is out of the race at the moment. He is currently 2 laps down off the leaders. David Nash a lap off the leaders. So that promotes Dean Reddit up into second position with Mika Limassuri now all over the back of Dylan Pereira. As they come down the Pilgrims dip, they're both the same. It dips down and then climbs back up into Hawthorn Hill for Hawthorn's Corner into the Derek Minter Straight. Around to the right for Westfield into Dingle Bell. Then they'll come up onto Sheen Curve. Then turn left down Stirlings to Clearways. Then bang it right to come onto the main straight at Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight. And then into Paddock Hill Bend for another lap around they will end up going. And while these two are battling out, I reckon it might be a good time if they don't stop for a pit stop. We'll see what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 13 of 28. What's going to happen here? Dylan Pereira takes a tight line. Miguel Emissaria follows suit. Into the pits they go. That is it. It is a race on pit lane for the lead of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Into the boxes they go. Up on jack stands at the same time. So Dylan Pereira, here we go. Race control. Car number 408. Drive through pit lane infringement lap 11. I'm not sure what Ty Turner that would be. So that'd be on... there we go. Dylan Pereira out ahead of Miguel Emissaria. And he's got a decent gap over him as well. How is the pits times? We will have a quick look at that one. Dylan Pereira, Miguel Emissaria. Only half a second in it on lap times. Here we go. Another drive-through penalty for car 605 on lap 11. 605 on lap 11.
Matty Scholes.
There we go. So Matty Scholes and Kai Turner.
Not having a good night, the boys.
Both with a drive-through penalty. Sitting 1 and 2 in the championship, ladies and gentlemen. And their night has gone down the gurgler. Not to mention David Nash. He's back out on track finally. He's up into... He's actually not up into 25th position. He's down into the 25th position. He's down 22 spots. The biggest loser of the race so far. So that's not good news. Another drive-through penalty. Car 19. Lap 13. Mika Limasuria with a drive-through penalty.
Oh, no.
I wonder what that is for. We haven't seen him caught up in any penalties. Does he go in now? We're about to find out. Stays out for one more. There's another car in the pit smoking. We can't see who that one is, unfortunately. David Nash, he's back in the pits again with a smoking engine. So Nash not having a good night at all. Dylan Pereira now. He'll know that Mika Limasuria has a drive-through penalty. It would have been advised to him through race control on the comms in the car. So he knows that Mika's got to serve a drive-through. He now knows all he has to do is eyes forward and focus on what's ahead of him. Mika Limasuria though, try and dig deep. We'll try and get race control up into the booth if they've got a man spare. They've got 4 people in there tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so maybe not. But that's not good news for Mika Limasuria there. He was doing extremely well applying the pressure there to Pereira. But Robert Brewer, our current leader, on screen in that gorgeous-looking livery right there with the mega cheer. And that gold stands out like no tomorrow, does it not, Andrew?
Certainly does, mate. Talk about colour clash. You can't miss that one going down around the track.
You got a peach car with a big gold sticker down the side and gold rims to boot. Here he goes into the pits. No, Mika Limasuria, one more lap, he stays out for the penalty. So he's got to serve it this time round or he's getting an even bigger penalty.
It's
So
not like
has he been notified, though, of said penalty as well? As he pushes Dylan Pereira wide into the hairpin. Mikel Emissaria takes the lead, but for how long? Dylan Pereira fights back up on the inside. Down through Graham Hill Bend, onto the Cooper Straight. They both run wide. Mikel Emissaria almost lost it off the track and lost it.
I don't know that he knows, Matty. Why would you be fighting if you know you're coming in for a penalty? Big risk to ruin Dylan's race.
Big risk at it as well. Has he been notified? That is the big question. No doubt Mika's crew chief tonight. Chief tonight, I believe it's actually Rainer Costello. He said Rainer last night in his post-race interview that he was crew chief. But Mikel Emissaria with a big dive up on the inside of Pereira as they come through the Dingle Dell. Down into Sterling. Oh, sorry, that was Sheen Kirby made the move there. Into Sterling's he comes. Mikel Emissaria now, what's he going to do? I don't think he knows that he has a penalty. Was this a mess up by race control? This is got me
he has no idea. Have we got the wrong driver?
We saw car 19 by race control. There we go. Car 19, car 61, car 11, drive-through pit lane infringement, lap 13.
Wow.
So 19, 61, that's Dylan Pereira, and car 11, that's Stephen Martin. So something is definitely going on here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure I might be able to get some post-race clarity on what's going on here, but
I think Dylan knows and Mika doesn't. It looks like I don't get why, if you knew, you'd try and take on the race and then risk the chance of ruining Dylan's race, but he obviously doesn't know, or
But this is the thing. Lost. Dylan Pereira has just been given a drive-through penalty, but for what?
Yeah.
This is what for. He has been out the front clear as anything. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those following at home, we get given, or JP, our director, he gets given a list of numbers which is then punched into a system to be brought up onto your screen. So what we are given from race control is then brought up onto your screen for you. So not only we know as commentators, but you guys know at home what is going on also, and you can read along and understand what happens. Mikel Emissaria is now in. Dylan Pereira in as well. So there we go. They've been given drive-through penalties. What for? We'll try and find out exactly what for, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a clearer understanding of what is going on in this race. Dylan Pereira, he's had an absolute almighty blistering race out in front. Clean driving the whole way through. Was it a speed lane, pit lane speeding? That is a stop and hold. So it wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused.
So I'm very, very confused on this one. We'll try and clarify this post-race for you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll focus on what is happening in front of us at hand. Lots of all the battle packs have now died out and thinned out throughout the field. The only main battle at the moment would have to be between Mikel Emissaria and Dylan Pereira, but those two are spread out. Sam Noble has joined in, or they've joined either side of Sam Noble there. So it's going to be a three-way battle here by the time once Dylan Pereira rocks up. With all that mayhem going on, Rehan Leonard's up in a second position behind Dean Reddit. Rehan has come from the back of the field, and he is up in second position behind Dean Reddit and putting immense pressure on him. Whilst he is at it, Rehan Leonard is now going for the lead of the race for the Brands Hatch 100, lap 18 and 28, ladies and gentlemen. And we will stick with this battle to see what happens. If it thins out, we will jump on board for a hot lap and try and get a hot lap in. The boys, unfortunately, didn't get one last night. They had to revert to Rainer doing a burnout. So we'll try and get one in and try and go one better than what the boys did in the Super Series. And Zach Cave and Chris Kisby doing the Super Series on Tuesday nights for that one. Through turn one they go. Up Haleswood Hill, into Druids the hairpin. Dean Reddit takes the defensive line, cuts in nice and tight. Rehan Lenos runs it a little bit wide around the hairpin, loses a car length or two to Reddit. Through turn 3, into turn 4 they come. Andrew, this has now changed a lot. We've had Rehan Lenos with a blown motor at the start of the race and dropped all the way back down to the back of the field, and now he's all of a sudden found himself back up in the second position.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's been a interesting last few laps, that's for sure. I reckon. Sorry,
okay. Oh, Warana runs a little bit wide coming through there, and we just got clarity for you, ladies and gentlemen. Big clarity as well. So there is a rule book that all drivers must adhere by at every race meeting that we have in the iRacing server, and one of those rules is you have a fast lane, you have a merging lane, and then you have your pit lane in the pit stall. And as we can see here, if you have a look, here we go, Rian Linoche, that is what we call the fast lane. I believe he might be coming in for a pit stop here to get tyres or fuel. Or is this a drive-through penalty? We'll find out. There we go. That's the merging lane he crossed into, and that is the pit stall lane that you get your pit stop done at. So Rian Linoche now dropping down the field. We thought he was in a comfortable position, but he has to take his pit stop because he had that fast repair earlier on. And what's that? We got a car off track as well in the grass. We'll get back to the rule book in just a second. He's back on track. So we thought there was a bit of an issue there for one of the JP Simshed entries. But he's back on track. Dylan Pereira all over the back of Sam Noble now. You've got the three lanes in the pit lane. You've got the fast lane, the merging lane, your pit lane. Obviously, Mika and Dylan drove down the merging lane as we saw. And Mika decided to swerve out into the fast lane, but it was already too late. So that is what those guys got pinged for. Race control doing their job and paying the most attention to detail on that one and pinging quite a few drivers. Quite a few drivers got pinged for that one. So that really mixes things up now because, Mika's back up in the second position and Dylan Pereira is now in fourth behind Sam Noble. So they didn't lose out on too much going through a drive-through penalty, but they did lose out to Dean Reddit, which Miguel Imasuri now has a look up on the inside of turn one, late on the brakes. Gets right up onto the back pocket. Can he have a run up into turn two? We'll wait and see. What's Dean Reddit going to do? Defensive line? Yes. Miguel Imasuri can't do much about it. Through the hairpin they go. Both take the perfect line through. They got their apex correct. Down into turn three, down the hill. Into Graham Hill, bend out onto the Cooper straight. Up into Surtees, turn four. Coming down, I'm going to call it the back straight, which there's clear ways is the back straight, but we'll call it the mid-track straight down into the Pilgrim's Drop. Miguel Imasuri are on the outside of Dean Reddit as they come up into turn five. Hawthorns. Lots back in behind him. Up the Derek Minster straight into Westfield. Turn six. Very short track around here, ladies and gentlemen. Into turn eight, Dingle Bell. Into turn nine. Then into Sheen Curve. Into Sterling's. Not much happening there. They've settled themselves out. And while we've got it, we'll get a crank up the volume while we're on with Dean Reddit. He's about to go across the start-finish line. So while we're at it, ladies and gentlemen, crank up that volume as loud as you can. Listen to these two battle it out around the Browns. Actually, we'll wait because Miguel and Missouri are up on the inside of Dean Reddit. Into turn one they go. Dean Reddit holds off Miguel and Missouri, but he's put on the outside of Miguel and Missouri, still on the outside. And that's it. Miguel and Missouri had a little bit of a fumble coming through turn one, and that granted, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 car lengths to Dean Reddit. So Miguel and Missouri was not able to get that one done up on the inside of turn one. So we'll have to wait another lap, ladies and gentlemen, to get a crank up the volume moment for you. There's action going on at the front of this field. Dylan Pereira now all over the back of Sam Noble, applying immense amounts of pressure to him to get back on to the podium and get his first podium for the season. First race also that he's able to have clean without crashing out or having someone taken out by taking him out. So amazing drive by the man himself there. But coming around into the final corners, ladies and gentlemen, get that volume ready this time around because we are definitely going to crank up the volume. We need to get one up over the boys from last night. So as they come over the under the Advan Bridge, I should say, the Yokohama Bridge there, Crank up the volume coming through the last corner, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the boys tackle this 650 horsepower supercar around Brands Hatch. How's that, ladies and gentlemen? Dean Reddit taking you for a lap around Brands Hatch in the V8 supercar, and during that time, Mika Limassuria up on the rear bumper of Dean Reddit. This is going to be a battle for the win right to the end. Lap 24 of 28, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew, we haven't heard much from you tonight, mate. There's been so much going on. I'll let you take the floor for maybe a lap and do some talking here, because it's full on. The tyres around here, you said so yourself, you've done a couple laps actually around here. It's a big slide by Jonathan Bay there as he comes out of turn one. Brian Leonosh up in the 10th position. He's had a good fight back there. But you said yourself you've done a few laps around here, around Brands Hatch in the V8 supercar. What's it like, I haven't done them personally, what's it like throwing these big buses around here?
It's not that. Probably my biggest issue, and let's be honest, I'm not the best driver out there, but is we're coming off the main straight and the big right-hander, sort of sleeping right-hander you get there, but there's not a lot of room for passing. You're sort of on and off the gas, and as you come under, you sort of can get a bit of a run here, but Mick is sort of, yeah, it's not the widest track out there, let's just say. You've got to tuck under the bar and get a bit of a run up the straight. But here is my biggest problem. I just can't seem to find a braking marker for there. But he's stuck up the inside. Oh!
Mega Limassuria! Oh! Squirm under brakes by both drivers. A little bit of movement under brakes by Dean Reddit there. Shuts the door on Mika Limassuria though. So not this time round, youngster. You're going to have to try another place. That might get looked at by the stewards. We'll have to wait and see. Might get called out by Mika there. But it's not going to find out till another couple laps time. Ladies and gentlemen, what they'll do. Andrew, as you were saying, mate, it's turn one. It's the trickiest corner.
Yeah, it certainly is. The car gets real light as you turn into the right-hander there, and if you're not onto it, you can lose it very, very easy. So very brave to make a move up there, I must admit.
Well, we've only seen one move tonight so far, ladies and gentlemen. Two, maybe. Big little wiggle by Dean Reddit. That promotes Mika on the back end of him. Little bit of push and shove. Don't mind me. Or should I say, if you don't mind. I'm getting the words out correctly.
Certainly is driven. He's driven straight up his backside there.
Up the backside, Mika Limassuria almost went to push him out of the way. And up the inside of turn one. Can he get it done this time? By the looks of it, he has. Dean Reddit yields to Mika Limassuria. Mika Limassuria takes to the lead on lap 26 of 28. What can Dean Reddit do? Is he going to be able to get back up onto the top step? And while all this has been going on, ladies and gentlemen, we have not been paying attention to our screens. Dylan Pereira up on the podium finally. He's gotten around Sam Noble, and he's it. So was that a mistake by Sam Noble? We're not sure. That's a little bit ahead of time just there. We'll try and bring up the replay for you properly, ladies and gentlemen. But he's bolted from Sam Noble. Here we go. Simsnap.com iRacing photography replay. Andrew, talk us through this one.
Have a look and see what's happened. Oh no! He's gone off. He's given it to Dylan there. That's a shame.
Sam Noble, that is how easy it is to run wide, ladies and gentlemen. If you were following last night, you would have heard Kisby mentioning it countless times. Every time you just dropped one wheel off on the grass or in the dirt, you were long gone. As we see, who was that behind Dan Stevens? Dean Williams. No, that is Dan Stevens. My apologies. Dan Stevens on screen in the number 3. Drops 2 wheels onto the dirt on the exit and was lucky to get away with that one to be able to keep the car straight. As he's got a good battle at the moment with Tony Gaffer in position for position 15th. So even the minors are battling it out down the order for minor positions.
I love those wheels of Tony Gaffer. I reckon that Penrite car looks awesome. Bright yellow wheels. That's my pick of the car's looks for the night anyway.
The pink wheels do stand out.
Yeah,
that is
yellow.
for sure. Or the yellow, my apologies. The yellow wheels stand out, that's for sure. I believe he was running pink at one stage. He was running. I believe he was running pink wheels at one stage. We'll have to go back through a few previous races and see what's going on. But he's flashing the lights by the looks of it for a lap driver in front of him. That's definitely not Brian Good in front of him. More time on the screen. That's the number 17 of Todd Martin. Todd Martin gets out of the way for the boys as they come down into the Pilgrim's Drop. Final lap, ladies and gentlemen. Mika Lemasuria, the youngster. He's absolutely bolted over Dean Reddit. He's out to a 1.6 second lead over him. Through the hairpin for the last time he goes. What's Dean Reddit got for him? Can Mika make it a clean race to the end and not put a foot wrong? Or a tyre wrong, should I say. Dean Reddit's throwing everything he can at this supercar to get it to grip up around Brands Hatch on the final lap for the Brands Hatch 100. Through turn 4 they go, through Surtees. Up around to the right to come down into the Pilgrim's Drop for the last time. Onto Hawthorne Hill, into Hawthorne's Miguel Lemasuria. He's got it comfortably. 1.6 seconds still back to Dean Reddit. So he is home set by the looks of it. Into Westfield for the last time. Around Dingledale.
You'll love that corner, Dingledale.
Dingledale, what a name for the corner. I'm going to mess it up one broadcast and call it Dinglebell, but we'll see what happens. Into Sterling's for the last time, coming up to the Advan Yokohama Bridge. Little bit of swerve left and right to say good day to the fans. The virtual fans on the side of the racetrack. Through Clark Curve he comes for the final time onto the main straight. Miguel Lemasuria, hats off, mate. Congratulations on the winning of Brands Hatch for the Brands Hatch 100, the second youngest driver in the field. And not to mention, mate, you have got the hat trick. You've gone back to back to back wins in the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8T2 E-Series. How was that, ladies and gentlemen? More in fact, how was that, Andrew?
Yeah, good. I really do. Like, we had a comment before from a person watching at home. I wish he'd change that profile pic because it really does make you feel old.
Makes you feel, or makes me feel old as mate. Oh, mate, I'm only 27, so that's seeing him that young. That reminds us of the little tackers running around everywhere and just seeing them come up into the sim world playing Gran Turismo. Soon they're going to be on the iRacing platform sooner than we think, and they'll be definitely showing us how to drive one of these buses, and that's what they are, ladies and gentlemen. These things are buses. There is next to no aero downforce on these cars. They want to slip, they want to slide. It is not like an F1 car or a GT3, GTE car. These things love to slide and give you a handful. But
There's just something about, like, I've got kids older than that, and like, I let my young lad who's, well, I shouldn't say, yeah, he's 19, shows my age, but he jumps on this and kicks my backside, and he only does it probably 1/10 of the time I do. So
Dean Reddit and Dylan Pereira make out your podium there, ladies and gentlemen, second and third. Sam Noble in fourth, Dylan Alessi in fifth, Troy Allen in sixth, Robbie Bradbury seventh, eighth position goes to Nicky G, Jamie Davis ninth, and rounding out the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, driving from the back of the field up into 10th position after a mishap at the start of the race, Rehan Leonos. But Mega Limassuria, you have the moment, son. Let her rip, Potato Chip, and enjoy this burnout as you go into Bathurst to go and take 4 back-to-back wins. What can you do there? We're gonna find out. That's a mouthful on its own. Try to say back 4 times very, very quickly. That's not a good one. Into the grass you go. Kisby will vote that a 1 out of 10 because you hit the grass. But let's go into unofficial race results, ladies and gentlemen, to see what's happened here. Miguel Limassuria, Dean Reddit, Dylan Pereira, rounding out your podium there. Sam Noble, Dean Alessi, Troy Allen, Robbie Bradbury, Nicky G, Jamie Davis, and Rehan Leonage rounding out the top 10. Dominated by Holdens in the top 10 there, and then in the top 20 there, dominated by Holdens again. It's a Holden dominating field in this series, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Bain, Matty Scholes, Robert Braw, Brian Good, Dan Stevens, Tony Gaffer in 16th, Ian Williams, Stephen Martin, Mitch Campbell, and Kai Turner dropping to the back of the field with a drive-through penalty. He's down in 20th position there. So not a good night for Scholesy or Turner. But Scholesy was ahead of Turner, so he increases his lead even more for that one. And for the championship leading into the final round at Bathurst there. How is that, ladies and gentlemen? Leave your comments. Let us know what you thought as we get the drivers up into the green room one by one for the post-race interviews. And how's that, ladies and gentlemen? It's only just gone past 9:15. It's 9:18 on your Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Motorsport. And we'll try and wrap this one up by about, I won't get there by 9:30, but we'll try and wrap it up at about 20 to 10 because we've got to let Mika Limassuria get off into bed as well. Mika, hang tight there, mate, because we'll get to you first up so we can get the interviews out of the way and get you off to bed, mate. Just waiting on Dean Reddit to jump up. There he is as he jumps into the booth with us now. So we've got our podium, ladies and gentlemen. Mika, we'll start with you, mate. We'll get this one out of the way and wrapped up for you. Congratulations on another race win, mate. That now makes it 3 from 3. You've got the hat trick. Big feat for that one. And it's a hard one to do. So big congratulations on that, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Matt. It was really definitely one of the hardest races out of the 3 I've won. Last 10 laps was really tense with Dane, but managed to pull it off.
Mate, Brands Hatch, it's not an easy track to get around. It's one of the tightest. I believe it is the tightest circuit we go to, apart from obviously across the top of the mountain at Bathurst, where it's single car only pretty much, unless you're brave enough to throw it up on the inside to Brocky Skyline. Brands Hatch, it's a tight one. Too wide through a corner, or even down a straight can get pretty hairy, mate. Overtaking moves are slim to none. By the looks of it, though, you decided to make turn 1 and turn 2 a sort of a nice statement there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, in the last half, Dean White struggled in the last corner to get to the apex, so he had pretty poor line out onto the straight. So that's when I tried making my move, and it took me a couple times to get the braking point right. And then with the lap I did, I got it right.
And it's turn 1. It's not the easiest one to get mastered either. The car likes to float through there, from what I've heard, in not only from drivers such as Rayner and all them, and Sean McNamara, but in the post-race interviews last night for the Super Series, it was mentioned by the drivers that the car liked to float a lot through turn 1 there. Obviously Dan from Coghlan Engineering obviously looks after us really, really well with these setups for you guys as it's a fixed series. How did you find the setup tonight with the car? Was it really planted on the ground through turn one, or did she still like to float?
Yeah, the GAC series seems like it was really grippy turn one, like when it bited mid corner, it really gripped the corner so you can get a good drive out. So, and the setup was really good on the tires throughout the whole race. So, yeah, that's a props to Daniel for putting out a good setup.
Stick with us, mate. We'll get back to you. We'll head off to Dean and Dylan quick, and we'll come back to you for some sponsors and some thoughts about next week leading into the final round at Bathurst. Before we let you go, mate. Dean, well done on second position, mate. Unfortunately, got it taken away by Mika in the dying laps there of the race, and what a battle it was.
Yeah, cheers, Matty. He's obviously got a lot of pace, and I kind of really didn't have any business being in the position I was after the drive-throughs, but all I could do was really try and make it as hard as I could for him, and, full credit to Mika for those 4 or 5 laps. I think we had a couple of 0Xs, but nothing more than that, and, I think Mika come back here to the GAC looking to work on his racecraft, and after that, I think he's definitely come a long way since the start of the season.
His racecraft has definitely improved from when he's first joined the GAC to now coming into the closing round at Bathurst, and that's one thing a lot of people have mentioned off air to me as well, that the racecraft by quite a lot of drivers in the GAC has come a long way. Mate, you got gifted first position there for a while due to some drive-through penalties, and that's one thing we'll bring up with Dylan and Mika there as well. In the next couple of questions is obviously got gifted there with the drive-through, but your teammate David Nash was doing relatively well. He was up the top there and holding well, and then all of a sudden dropped down to second last place, 15 laps down. And what happened there?
Yeah, he got a stop and hold on the pit lane entry, and then he somehow managed to blow his motor up coming out, and then I'm not quite sure what happened. He was obviously very annoyed, and he took the fast repair, and then it happened again. So it kind of happens that way. I had a similar thing happen to me at Silverstone, where you just lose your train of thought and you just can't get it back.
It's very easily done in the sim world as well. You've got your teammates in the background, but you don't really have your main engineer or your crew chief sitting there going, righto, mate, like just keep your cool and we can work something out. We can work it on strategy or something. I mean, they're only sprint rounds, they're short races. You've only got the one pit stop to really be able to play at hand there, but it's not an easy one to calm down from, especially when you blow your motor not once but twice.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for him, and I think the pressure mounts when it's a really tough track to overtake and make your way back through as well.
And speaking of overtaking, mate, what are your thoughts with the overtaking at Brands Hatch? Obviously, it's tight, it's narrow, it's very, very limited. I mean, we saw Mika get into turn one, was able to get you on the outside there and then get you right up alongside up to Haywards Hill and into Druids there at the hairpin. What are your thoughts around Brands Hatch for overtaking?
Yeah, I think I've got a pass in turn one, and that was pretty much it for me for the race coming from 11th. Everything else was due to people running off track. So it is difficult, and Mika basically did exactly what you can do, and that is put as much pressure on the car in front to make a mistake, because you only have to make a small mistake around that track and you pay for it big time, and that's exactly what he did to me.
Well, stick around, mate. We've got a few more questions to come your way a bit later on in the post-race. On to our third place sitter for the first time, finally for the first time in the season. Dylan Pereira joins us in the booth. He's been an absolute demon in qualifying. He's been up the top, he's been at the front, but just hasn't been able to convert it into a race win or a podium. But he's finally managed to pip Sam Noble in the dying stages to get into third position. Dylan, mate, congratulations on third positions and welcome to the commentary booth for the first time.
Yeah, cheers, Matty. Yeah, happy to get a podium. It was bloody hard work out there, intense race, and yeah, made a bit of a meal of it too. But yeah, glad to get back on the podium.
Now, for everybody sitting at home, we see that on screen at the moment, you're driving for JP Simshed, and you're a V8 supercar rookie. How much of a rookie are you? I heard that you've only just started driving V8 supercars.
Yeah, I first got the V8 supercar a couple of weeks before Oran Park, and learnt about the series and jumped in, and yeah, have had a ball since joining. So it's been good fun. Fun car to drive. Hard to get right, obviously, as you guys all know, but yeah, really rewarding.
Now, if memory serves me correct, Andrew and JP will be able to help me out on this one as well. Oran Park, I believe that was round 4, round 3.
I think round 3.
Yeah, so there we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Since round 3 of this season, we'll go back. So let's call it the start of the season. So 17 weeks ago, this man had just jumped in the supercar and was getting to grips with it and decided to throw himself at this series. And he's come a long way. And mate, you have come a long way. You've been a menace in qualifying. Obviously started front row tonight. Had an amazing battle there with Mika there for quite a while until you unfortunately both copped the drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement, which was travelling in the merging lane instead of the fast lane. Obviously, a lesson learnt for you.
Yeah, these are all the rookie errors I've made all season long. So it's been a massive learning curve and lots of lessons. So yeah, looking forward to next season. And congrats to Mika, he was mega, and congrats to Dean as well.
And obviously being the rookie as well, and not actually knowing you that well. Preparation coming into Brands Hatch, a big one for you. How many, roughly, off the top of your head, how many hours can you count in for the viewers at home, just so they have an idea of how many hours really go into preparing yourself for race night on a Wednesday night?
Yeah, it's handy the VRS gives us that data pretty easily. So it's about 11 hours for this one. Pretty big disappointment after last week, DNF after the first lap. So wanted to make amends, and yeah, happy to get on the podium today.
Make amends, you did, mate. That's for sure. Andrew, before we go back to Mika, mate, to allow him to run off as we start. So as we just about to click over to 9:30, mate. You got any questions for the boys?
Nah, they've done really well, but 11 hours, that just shows why I'm no good, because I don't have the patience to put 11 hours in. So well done to the boys. I had you pinned as the man to win tonight, Dylan. Unfortunately, it got away from you a bit. But
Sorry to let you down.
You're all right, mate. All good. You did well. Not the easiest of tracks to drive, especially if you've only come on 17 weeks ago in the supercar. Happy with how things have gone for you?
Yeah, managed to find the pace pretty early on in the week, and did a few officials on the weekend and some good team practice, and pretty much like this track from the start. So it's nice and flowing. Really hard to overtake though. So track position and grid position was key, but Mika makes overtakes look pretty easy. So he did really well.
Yeah, and just to Mika, mate, if you could change that profile picture of yours, just age it about 10 years, we'd all feel a lot better.
Before we actually look at the championships points as well, guys, and ladies and gentlemen watching at home, I just forgot my question that I was gonna ask everybody just then. I completely forgot. So hopefully it comes back to me, and while we're going through the current standings of the championship points, and I'll hopefully get my retrain of thought. JP, are those ready at the moment, or we still got a couple more minutes before they are up and running? No, there we go. Unofficial results for your championship, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Rian Leonage promoted into second position after Kai Turner had an absolute shonker of a race. But Matty Scholes is looking comfortably to take it out next week at Bathurst. He's sitting out at 71 points in the lead. Matty Scholes in first, round Leonage second, Kai Turner third. Our man Nicky G in fourth, David Nash in 15, Reddit sixth, Dan Alessi seventh, Sam Noble in eighth, Dan Stevens ninth, and Jonathan Bain, ladies and gentlemen, rounding out your top 10. We'll let those cycle through as we ask away the questions for the drivers. the question still hasn't come back to me at the moment. So it's memory's not my forte tonight. It's been a long day in the office, and and not should I say a long one tonight in the booth, but a very quick race, that's for sure. But action packed it was. Mika, mate, it's clicking over 9:30. We know you've got to shoot off to bed, mate. We'll let you thank some sponsors quickly, mate. And if you want to stick around, or if you're allowed to stick around, stick around. If not, we'll allow you to shoot off and go do what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm allowed to stay before about 9:50, 9:45, but I'll go for
Easy,
my
mate. Well,
sponsors.
we'll keep you a bit longer then. We'll do a round of sponsors as thank yous for Mika, Dylan, and Dean, and we'll look into next week and what the championship's going to be holding for us.
Okay. I'd like to thank Nationwide Technology Systems, JP Simshed, Autocare Warana, DSL Welding, Dragon RC, Cars for Hope, VR Covers, Racing with Autism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, Bruzy Australia, and my mum and dad for letting me go on my sim.
Dean, mate, you've got the floor for some sponsors.
Cheers, Matty. Yeah, just another shout out to the guys at Riot, Nashy and Scalzi, and anyone else that's looking at coming in next season. Yeah, big shout out to you guys, obviously in the commentary booth. Love your energy, Matty. You're always pumped to come in, and it's great. It's great to watch back. JP obviously organising it, Simshed Broadcasting, Goodyear Autocare for their support of the series. For our guys, Bliss Homes, and our partnership with F Suicide. So that's pretty much it.
Well, I won't be back in you next week. I got nothing there, Matty. You got all the props.
Can't forget Andrew in the background as well, mate. You do help me out there, mate, and definitely pick up the pieces where I can't bring in because I've got to pump a Strepsil or two down my throat, and I'll say it week in, week out. Strepsils, please provide JP and the boys in the booth with a sponsorship, because our voices are definitely copping a workout with the amount of action that is going on the track at the moment. Dylan, mate, we'll finish up with you for sponsors, mate, before we start looking into next week and what we've got planned for the rest of the week.
Yeah, big thanks to Simshed Broadcasting, Nationwide Technology Systems, Goodyear Autocare Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Bruzy Australia, VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing with Autism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and yeah, love your work in the commentary booth. Awesome stuff.
Appreciate it, mate. The thanks do go a long way. While we're on the thanks of sponsors, actually, we'll see if I can rattle these off again. Goodyear Autocare Warana for sponsoring us for the V8T2 E-Series. Also, Blue Stampede Labour Hire. We've also got the hybrid racing simulations for all our unofficial results for the championships and the race results. We've got SDK Gaming. We've got Track Cams for Gourmet, Abruzzi Racewear. We've also got simsnap.com iRacing photography as well. So those guys do an amazing job and bring us all the action you see on screen. But the biggest thanks of them all is the man that does all the work behind the scenes. That is JP. He works tirelessly, and boys, he working tirelessly at the moment. We are looking at the next season already, and we are booked out. It's only entries have been open for, I wouldn't even call it 48 hours. I'll call it 24 hours. We've had entries out on the public, and we have filled up all 60 positions already. So that is a big one and just shows how wanted this series is. So look forward to next season for the Super Series, and then obviously we have the Super 2s E-Series. So the bit of a name change going on there, ladies and gentlemen, but we are looking forward to it nonetheless. Now, obviously, looking into next week, boys, we've got Bathurst. It is the final round. We're coming back down under finally, flying into New South Wales, Bathurst there to take on the Mountain, and it is not forgiving one little bit. Matty Scholes is going to be looking at taking out the championship out there, but obviously, and he's out to quite a comfortable lead. Looking at double points, though, it could promote a few drivers quite high up into the championship standings there. Dylan, we'll start with you, mate. Bathurst, it's a tricky one. It's concrete barriered to start with, so it's not forgiving on your car across the top of the mountain if you mess up coming into the Great or McPhillamy, or especially coming if you get it wrong into Skyline and the Dipper. So what are your thoughts going into next week, mate?
Yeah, pretty scared, Matty. Can have to get started with practicing pretty soon, and slightly different this week as well with qualifying on Sunday. So yeah, it's going to be tricky, but yeah, we'll do some practice and see how we go.
Dan, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yep, it's pretty nerve wracking, but hopefully we'll put the
I can
work
see you're
in.
nervous with just talking about it. You haven't even bloody turned a lap there.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's one of those ones that you always take time to adjust to, no matter how many times you've raced it before. So we'll get it in, get some work in, and hopefully get Matty prepared for next week as best we can.
Mika, mate, what are your thoughts about Bathurst? It's a favourite amongst quite a few drivers. Not should I say quite a few. I think it's a favourite amongst all drivers in this series and the Super Series. What are your thoughts, mate?
Bathurst, absolute best of the track, really hard. So I'm looking up for the challenge, but like Dean said, it is kind of nerve-wracking since if you hit a curb wrong or slide a little bit, you're in the barriers, so you've got to watch out.
Very little room for error, and it's probably, and from a driver's point of view, from myself, ladies and gentlemen, it is the track that you've got to stay 110% focused at all times. You can't slack off one little bit, because you slack off across the top of the mountain, you find yourself into the wall, and the walls up there are not forgiving. You've got a little bit of room coming down to breathe, or should I say, and lose a little bit of concentration coming down Conrod Straight, but then you come into the chase, and at 300 kilometers an hour in a V8 supercar, and you have to bang the brakes on millimeter perfect as you straighten the car up before you flick it left to come down into Hull Corner. It's definitely a hard one to battle around there, and with very little aerodynamics, as I mentioned as well. It's going to be tough to maneuver these cars around. We watched them do it last year. We watched quite a fair number of drivers, should I say, last year. I can't remember the size of the field. I think it was 30 cars or 26 cars or something like that last year. Zoom around Bathurst itself for the Bathurst 1000 at the end of the year, which we are looking forward to again, ladies and gentlemen, to see who's going to be taking out King of the Mountain for the Nationwide Technology Systems down there. So one to definitely look forward to, but also there is more racing to come for this week. Saturday night is going to be bringing up for the JP's Sim Shed boys. There's Weekend Warriors, I believe. JP will be able to correct me on that one. There we go. Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing from 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Times on Saturday. But then join us for the penultimate round, the last round of the championship on Tuesday and Wednesday night, where we've got drivers fighting it out for the #1 spot in the Nationwide Technology System Super Series, and then kick it over on to Wednesday for the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8T2 E-Series as we crown a champion for that night. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, JP might be able to help me with this one, is the shootout for just the Super Series, mate, or we've got that for the T2 as well? Just the NTS. So we've got a shootout just for the NTS, but it is enduro round. So it is a longer race, ladies and gentlemen. Start time's going to stay the same, but we are going to be going longer. So make sure you've got a cup of coffee, you've got yourself a V, you've got some form of energy drink to be able to perk you up for your Tuesday and Wednesday night motorsports there. Because endurance round around Bathurst, it's going to be a long one. You're looking at 2:00, or the Super Series, you're probably looking at around 2:04, 2:03, depending on track temp out there. And then you've got probably about a 2:06 around for the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8T2 E-Series boys. So it's going to be a long race, that is for sure. But Andrew, got any final questions, anything you'd love to say before we wrap it up tonight on Wednesday Night Motorsport, and let all the boys and girls at home and in the booth tonight head off and grab some shut-eye?
You've pretty much covered it all, Matty. Really looking forward to next week. Bathurst, obviously a favourite track of everyone, as you said. And it will. It all comes down to next week. Matty Scholes will want to be hoping to get a good one leading into the championship. So we'll see what happens. And as young Mick has said there, not a lot of room for error if you're going over the grate there or across Skyline. You can lose it pretty easy. So it's going to be a good one to watch.
Well, tune in, ladies and gentlemen, Tuesday night, especially Tuesday night. If you want to really know how to tackle Bathurst, tune in Tuesday night for the Super Series. You'll see myself sitting shotgun in the car, and not by shotgun in the passenger seat. You'll be seeing me behind the driver's seat and taking you on a hot lap around the famous Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst. So make sure you tune in to find out what it's like to go on board a supercar around that circuit and go flat to the board and around that circuit and try and rub it up a few concrete barriers along the way without taking the paintwork off the side of my number 148 Commodore. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, joining me in the booth tonight is the podium, Miguel Masuria, Dean Reddit, and Dylan Pereira, 1, 2, and 3, and also my amazing co-commentator, Andrew Collins. With the director in the background, JP, my name is Matt Davis. We'll see you on Tuesday night for Super Series, and then we'll see you back here on Wednesday night for the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8T2 E-Series when we crown the champion. Who's going to be taking home the number 1 plate? Is it going to be Matty Scholes? Is it going to be Rehan Linage? I'm not sure. Neither are you. So make sure you tune in and find out. That is it for me. Have an amazing week and a weekend. Don't forget Saturday night, Weekend Warriors. Have a good night and good night.